last name of my forefathers
Yeah.
was taken from them when they were brought to America and made slaves. And then the name of the slave master was given, which we refuse. We reject that name today.
You
And
mean you
refuse
mean you
to.
won't even tell me what your father's supposed last name was or gifted last name was?
I never acknowledge it whatsoever.
And speaking of that, I mean, I've been watching a few videos of Umar Johnson, which he can be very controversial, you know. Uh, but amongst your African American friends, maybe when you're having the dinner tables, do you sense that they feel a bit lost? I know you can't look. You can't obviously speak for all African Americans, but I mean, just generally from your experience, um, I remember you were speaking about just psychologically they when they were brought over during the Atlantic slave trade, they cut that connection of the African culture, you know, which versus other cultures, whether you're Asian, whether you're Indian, you still have that connection where maybe your grandparents are still in India, or if you're European, you still have Italians, etc., etc. But the African American story is just so unique and different and so tragic. You know, so amongst your friends, I mean, do you sense that at times? Because obviously you still have the heritage and the roots back in South Africa, Emlas.
Right. I mean, it's not even just sensing it. You definitely do witness it a lot of times, because they just don't have that core definition to draw from, because they don't know precisely where they're from per se. Italians will say, oh well, my great granddad came here through this, and he started a life here, and he opened a pizza store, and my father took over, and and da 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 da. There's a pattern, there's a history, there's identification with that. For the African American, there's none. All they know is that they came from the west, the Gold Coast of Africa. That could have been anywhere.
Mm.
That
Mm.
could have been Gambia, that could have been Senegal, that could have been, anywhere.
Mm. Mm.
They don't know. Me and you, we know Wutitina, Samazul.
Yeah.
And we
With hard
can draw
heads.
that from back. Yes, from back. We used to have a family member, not directly my grandmother, and she would be able to line the history from Impiga Pambat all the way down.
Oh wow.
That's not too far from Shaga's time.
Wow.
I could, if I really wanted to dig into it, we could really, and only to be married also to a family that is within the lineage of Abaga Princess Nandi, not to Nandi.
Because you married into Kumalo, I believe, right?
Yes, and they have a direct lineage. This is not like, a story. This is factual. So, and I could draw that, and my daughter, that's my daughter's lineage, and they could easily bring that up. You know what I mean?
Mm.
African Americans don't have that.
Sure. And once you cut that off and you have no sense of home and your roots, you just become lost, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
You just it's tragic, you know, and I mean I don't have the solutions to that, and I don't know what are the solutions. What happened during that time is just, you know, slavery happened, number one, which already was bad, but the psychological element, I don't think we've even taken into account, which is probably also one of the driving reasons for the different challenges as African Americans face in America. Um,
Right.
so, and we could obviously carry on speaking about the
All
challenges of
right.
that. I'd love to know now, as a closing question, just around this. Um, I was thinking back to say I remember during apartheid where uh, different countries would take a stand, you know, and would force countries to put sanctions on South Africa. And that's how you actually saw change, because it's not like the apartheid government said, okay, we are tired, we actually
Yeah.
want you guys to be equal.